I just don't have enough words to explain my perspective.
Why on earth would you want to explain your perspective?
Because in some, when we discuss some situations, he would make some suggestions based on existence of free will. And I would tell him it doesn't make sense to me because I don't believe that there is an individual will. I believe that everything that happens is God's will.
Yeah.
And if I label it my will or someone else's will, these are just labels, but they don't make sense. But the response I get is that it's me rejecting responsibility for my actions.
Right.
Which I don't agree with.
Yes, and as long as you are engaged in such a debate, then you're going to be in a debate.
What would you do?
I would. I don't have a philosophical position on the subject. In other words, my understanding is what my understanding is. But I have no interest or desire to convince anyone of anything. So, I always come from my own perspective, of course, and come from my own understanding. People tell me what I should do all the time. I feel absolutely no compulsion to argue with them.
Even if they're your sponsor?
Even if they're my sponsor. In my case, I have no desire to argue with anyone because my understanding is not philosophical in nature. You see, what you're engaged in is a philosophical discussion about your belief that there is no free will, that there's only God's will. These are all beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And my perspective is that none of these beliefs are true, even those enlightened ones.
Does your sponsor believe in free will?
My sponsor is someone with whom I've had a relationship for a very long time. And we do not discuss philosophy. It's just, there's no discussion about it. And we have from time to time engaged in discussions where it became clear to me that his perspective and my perspective on something were quite different. And I have no desire whatsoever to make my perspective clear to him. If he's interested in my perspective, he'll ask me. If I'm interested in his, I will ask him. But I will not engage in a debate with him for the very simple reason that I don't believe that either my perspective or his are true.
Mm-hmm.
My beingness is true. The truth of what I am is absolutely true. But all of the ideas, all the concepts, all of the rationales, all of the philosophies and perspectives are not true. They're simply the ones that I've got. And so the real humility, true humility, is the recognition that what I believe is not true. It is true for me, absolutely true for me. I come from that perspective. I believe it wholeheartedly. But there is not the slightest hint in my being that that which I believe wholeheartedly is absolutely true in any way. and that that truth extends in any way beyond me. So I'm totally comfortable with telling anyone that I believe totally in the first step. That my perspective is one of total powerlessness. And by that I mean that whatever power I am given to do anything, because I have power to do all kinds of things, but that power is given to me or not. If it's given to me, I act accordingly. If it's not given to me, I can't. This is my understanding, but I have no desire to convince anyone, because a philosophical discussion isn't going to bring anyone into the understanding that I have. You don't convince anyone about it. They can only see it. It only becomes true through working the steps or some other process by which there comes a spiritual awakening in which that understanding is seen. When it's seen, it doesn't have to be talked about. It's just so blatantly, obviously true. There's no discussion. There's no debate. It's just how it is. There are three words which I've found to be absolutely magical. And those are, my experience is. When you preface whatever you're saying with, my experience is, no one can argue with you. There's no argument about, this is my experience. My experience is this. Somebody else can say, my experience is different. You say, fine. No problem.